Let us meditate like a Jedi. This evening, let us explore the 10th of 28 passages of the meditation classic, Great Garuda in Flight, composed by the great Buddhist reformer Prahevajra. For those who conceptualize the authentic condition, meditation becomes a mere reflection. They become sick in attachment from desiring great bliss. If they do not apply the medicine of abiding in the state of unchanging equality, then even the cause of progress to the higher realms becomes infected by delusions. Well, that sounds kind of grave. So, as the drunk asked the policeman, "What seems to be the problem, officer?" Well, there are people... Well, let's see what happens here. To explain this, I'm going to rely on some visual aids. Both the set of visual aids and these teaching texts are available for free download as PDFs. We evolved to have two mechanisms running in our brain. A competitive mechanism and a cooperative mechanism. The former has to do with surviving, and forgive my cliche choice of words, but the second has to do with thriving. We might experience occasional and short-lived pleasures upon the path of survival, but we only experience meaning upon the path of cooperation. As infants, newborn, it is our survival mechanisms that are plugged in and that are roaring. And as childhood progresses, more and more of our cooperative mechanisms kick in. And that's good. That's very, very good. We could say that the archetype of the Buddha could be described in terms of being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. And the archetype of his foolish cousin could be described as being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Or if you're a child who read highlights magazines, there was gallant and doofus. Sadly, Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. All of us started off behind the 8-ball. 90% of us are tickled pink to remain there, including 90% of meditation teachers. When we are stuck in our rigid, fearful, controlling tendencies, we hide from authenticity. We hide from unpleasant sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, unpleasant emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. As a little boy, me and my sister would sit upon our sofa with our mother on Saturday afternoons and watch scary movies, reruns of scary movies on the TV. And when they got really, really scary, we would hide behind our mother, hoping that if the monster crawled through the TV, he would eat her before he ate us. Oh, yes, yes. And we can laugh at the cowardice of childhood, but there's a lot of that cowardice, at least in potentiality, within each of us. And it rears its head when we hide from authenticity, when we hide from painful or unpleasant or scary perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Let's return to this evening's teaching text. For those who conceptualize the authentic condition, one of the ways we hide from the ugly is we try to hold it at arm's length. And one of the ways we do that is by intellectualization, or more accurately, pseudo-intellectualization. And this was made fun of by one of the vignettes found in Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. Death comes to visit a dinner party, and an American at the dinner party was trying not to be scared by philosophizing. And of course, Death was unimpressed and told him to just shut up. We do that all the time. Instead of being present and for painful emotions and stories of ourselves and others, we, like the fictional character Fraser Crane, sterilize them with lofty sounding words. Why, even in Mahayana Buddhism, we can hide behind impermanence. We can hide behind interdependence. We can hide behind visualizations that seek to blend the two. There's a famous one used in highest yoga tantra where we bring the four bases of mindfulness into the path of impermanence and interdependence, exploring how all circumstances could impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently dissolve into our bodies. That we could visualize how all bodies of all beings blissfully and impermanently melting into rainbow light that interdependently coalesce to our speech. We could then imagine all communication, all trappings of the interpersonal, blissfully melting into rainbow light that interdependently coalesce into our mind. And that we could visualize the minds of all beings everywhere, blissfully and impermanently melting into rainbow rays that interdependently coalesce into infinite emptiness. And that sounds spiritual, and that can change the way we feel. But it is nothing more than a pseudo-spiritual dodge. It's hiding. Better it is to be vulnerable, to feel the emotion, be it terror or rage or despair or nothing or joy. Better to feel it than to hide from it. I'm reminded of the words of the author of Dune, who composed the prayer, the Canticle of Peace, the Bene Gesserit Canticle of Fear. I must not fear. Fear is the little death that brings obliteration. I will face my fear. I will let it pass through me and over me and around me. I will turn to face my fear and see that it has gone, and only I remain. We are like pilings on a pier, buffeted by one wave, and then a trough, and then another wave, and then a trough, over and over and over again. We are buffeted by an endless parade of sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Some external, some internal, some physical, some mental, some pleasurable, some painful, some interesting, some boring, some glorious, and some grotesque. Let us exercise the courage to be open-hearted with whatever comes our way. Whether it is an affectionate doggy or the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Meditation is not designed to be an anesthetic. It's designed to be the tools wherewith we grapple with the present moment, glorious, or grotesque, or interesting, or boring. So, those who dodge the present moment become sick in attachment from desiring great bliss. We have evolved to experience aversion to peril and pain and scorn and shame. And these aversions have served us evolutionarily to help us to survive long enough to pass on our genetic material. We've evolved the capacity to hunger for safety and pleasure and praise and fame. These two have served us on the basest of levels. So there's nothing wrong with desiring pleasure. The question is not, do we desire pleasure? Because if we're honest, we do. We might define pleasure in different ways, but we're wired to desire it. The question is not really, is that desire there? The question is, what are we going to do with it? Do we repress it? Do we indulge it? Do we find the middle path of noticing it and relaxing in harmony with our breathing? Let us continue. If they do not apply the medicine of abiding in the state of unchanging equality. So we're seeing here medicine is being used as a figure of speech for practicing the state of unchanging equality. What does that mean? Does it mean we lie to ourselves that there is absolutely no difference between doggy do and chocolate? No. That is a trap for fools. The stage of equality means we have the same reaction to whatever we experience. Whether it's pleasurable, we notice it and release it in harmony with our breathing, or whether it's painful, we notice it and release it in harmony with our breathing. Whether it's interesting or boring, we notice it and release it in harmony with our breathing. Whether it's glorious or grotesque, we notice it and release it in harmony with our breathing. And so the equality here is that we treat everything the same. So you might say, Well, if we're noticing releasing, how do we know how to respond to the present moment? Here's the wild thing. And I'm going to answer this, to explore this further. I'm going to return to the set of visual images. When we have a choice at every moment, do we cooperate passively with our autonomic nervous system, or do we compete against it actively? Well, what's wrong with competing against it actively? Glad you asked. When we get boneheaded advice to actively focus and reliance upon our medial prefrontal cortex, and actively analyze and reliance upon our dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, not only do we exhaust the front part of our brain, but that sets us up to present with symptoms of depression, as well as trigger our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Well, that kind of sucks, doesn't it? Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider, if you will, the humble spinal cord. Every time we inhale, we are wired to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, described as the sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. It has evolved to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Consequently, we're halfway there. Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically access the end bits of our spinal cord, like bookends on a shelf, not completely full. Described as the parasympathetic nervous system, it helps us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. Cooperating vulnerably and passively with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems calms our amygdala and gently stimulates our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, that which helps us to be compassionate and content and cooperative. That is how the proper practice of mindfulness and meditation acts as a medicine. By passively cooperating, by silently and mentally reciting the verb watch every time we feel our chest swell as we inhale, by silently and mentally reciting the verb rest each time we feel our chest sink into our exhalation. We are accessing evolution's happy coincidence of a metaphoric medicine that helps us be less of a villain and less of a fool and less of a victim, which helps us to be the person that our dogs already think we are. For those who conceptualize the authentic condition, pseudo-intellectually keeping it at arm's length, meditation becomes a mere reflection. They become sick in attachment from desiring great bliss. If they do not apply the medicine of abiding in the state of unchanging equality, then even the cause of progress to the higher realms becomes infected by delusions. Let's explore for a second an additional fringe benefit of the path. What if enlightenment was simply mastering the Buddha's Eightfold Path? Here's something wild. Simply by playing with mindfulness and meditation, we automatically experience kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, kind commerce. This is why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that the highest love was the spontaneous and uncontrived byproduct of simply noticing and relaxing. However, when we skip noticing and relaxing, and we just try to use willpower or coercion to get ourselves to ape the various forms of kindness, it is an analog. You ever go to the store and they have these perfectly spherical light red tomatoes, and they might even be on a vine, and when you get them home and you slice them open and you bite into it, it tastes like nothing. And then maybe the next day you go to a farmer's market, you buy an heirloom tomato, it's asymmetrical, it's deep, rich colors. It might be brown, it may be vibrant red, maybe a little smushy, but when you slice it and eat it, it really tastes amazing. That is the difference between an analog and the real deal. We might be able to fool the feeble-minded. We might be able to fake an emotion. We might be able to plaster a pleasant smile on our face. We might fool some of the people some of the time, but we will not fool all of the people all the time. We might go through our lives a consummate expert at pretending to be someone we're not. But where's the fulfillment in that? Where's the beauty in that? Far better to be defined by vulnerability and spontaneity. Let us not abuse an analog of mindfulness and meditation. Let us not deceptively... Remember in the Harry Potter movies, there was the cloak of invisibility that Harry and his friends could hide under? Let us not do that with the trappings of spirituality. Let us practice authentic awareness and release and harmony with our breathing. Let us pretend there is just one life, and let us make it count. I once knew a spiritual teacher who said, figuratively, chew the meat off of life's bones, break it in half, and suck out the marrow. He wasn't talking about abandoning manners at a dinner party. He was talking about life is messy. Our circumstances, our bodies, our relationships, our thoughts are messy. It's good to be kind. And it's good to be humble. Real humble isn't pretending to be someone you're not. Real humility is being authentic and vulnerable And you'll be surprised about how easy it is to be considerate of others' feelings while still being authentic. Authenticity is not license for cruelty. Kindness is not license for inauthenticity. How do we balance the two? Simple. Enthusiastically and authentically practice mindfulness and meditation, and stand back and watch as miraculously things fall into place. I once spoke to a do-nothing establishment Democrat who insisted that life bends towards justice. Do nothing and just watch good things happen. Really? Is that how we won the Revolutionary War? By doing nothing? Is that how we abolished slavery? By doing nothing? Is that how we abolished I forgot that disease, that polio? By doing nothing? No. Practice centered spontaneity and watch as our choices and utterances and deeds flow, not from contrivance, not from scatteredness, but from a centered spontaneity that utilizes all our resources in the most sustainable way. I'm going to tell you something you already know. You're going to die. I'm going to die. We all going to die. That's a foregone conclusion. There's a wonderful line from the third Alien movie. Are you the son of a bitch and made an agreement with God so that he never has to die? No. No, he's not. None of us are. We all going to die. We all do messy things. We all urinate. We all flatulate. We all defecate. Sometimes we regurgitate. We were born naked and screaming, and most of us will die that way. Life is short, and it's messy. And if we think we can hide from life's vicissitudes, it's like the song by Judas Priest, you got another thing coming. Life is short and it's messy. Let us traverse the path of mindfulness and meditation so that we can spontaneously flow in a way that helps us do the most good for the most people with what little time we have left. Having completed this evening's opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after about 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Sunday Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus so that I could spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see someone wrote a note, and I'll get to that in just a moment. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, let's together practice mindfulness and meditation. But first, let's entertain a question. So, quick like a bunny, I'm going to tap button 8. Let's see, over here. I want to tap this bad boy. Oh, that's from the wrong page. Okay, let's fix that. Let's go over here. And let's go over here. Let's hit pop out chat, expand chat, enlarge chat. Now let's go over to this button here. Let's tap button 8. Let's hit window capture. Let's go to studio. And there she blows. Fabulous. So, Dante wrote, Happy Halloween, and Happy Halloween to you, sir. So, if I try to use mantra to overcome my anxiety and also visualizing, am I doing wrong? When I try to notice and realize, my mind just ruminates more and more. I can't just notice and release. It's difficult. Well said, Dante. It is difficult after a lifetime of being conditioned to run and hide from painful emotions. It is difficult. Learning any skill is messy business. Remember when you were a child and an authority figure in your life attempted to teach you how to ride a bike. Remember the times you fell. Remember the times you cried. I remember the incredible fear that I was going to plunge 18 inches to my doom. And yet, in time, we got better and better and better to the point that we could ride a bike spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. It is possible to get so good at mindfulness and meditation that we too practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. It does not require a great ocean of time to master the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha taught in the penultimate passage of the Discourse on the Four Bases of Mindfulness that one could master his path in as little as 7 days. This is not a Herculean event. Remember, this is important, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever peace or terror we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of just emotion. The ancients refer to it as wisdom light. Wisdom light means two things. Conventionally, it's that which we see, or which facilitates seeing. And ultimately, light, although appearing, is non-graspable. I remember as a child on a Sunday morning lying in bed, seeing light pass through my drapes, and as it intersected airborne dust particles, it created rays. And I could pass my hand through the ray, but I could not grab it, because light is appearing yet non-graspable. Similarly, as we breathe in, our terror seems wretched and permanent and solid and defining. I'm not fearful. I am fear. I'm fear stomping about on 2 legs. Yet, as we relax into our exhalation, even partially, even momentarily, even fleetingly, that exact same set of sensations feels a little bit less bad, a little bit less permanent, a little bit less solid, a little bit less defining. It does not feel that way because we believe all the right things, or because we've studied the right treatise, or shastras, or sutras, but because of a happy coincidence with evolution. Our central nervous system evolved in such a way is that when we cooperate with our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous systems, when we cooperate with our tendencies to perceive as we breathe in and relax even a fraction of a degree as we breathe out, it helps us to cope. I am a great big coward. I have many disabilities. One of them is EDS, which gives me a very strained relationship with anesthesia. And last week I had a surgical procedure, and they drugged me as best they could, and they tore into my body as quickly as they could by working with with watching and resting. It did not make the pain go away. It did not make the aversion go away. It did not make the infection go away. It did not make the surgeon go away. But it helped me to cope. I have autism, and autistics struggle with meltdowns, which is a very polite euphemism for psychotic breaks. Using this technique helps me not to lose my mind. In Tibet, there is a phrase that can be translated into English as the wisdom of no escape. Sometimes we're in peril and we try to flee and we're successful. That's great. Sometimes we're in peril and we can't escape. There's no escape route. Using the right technique will not make the peril go away, but it will help us to endure it. So here we go. What would you do if you were to face up speaking in public and you feel a super uncomfortable feeling in your stomach of anxiety or trembling arms? I remember when my parents taught me how to multiply, it was torture. Yes. Some of us are gifted with a keen memory. Some of us are gifted with a memory that keeps resetting, which makes forgetting, which causes us to perpetually forget on multiplication tables. So I also have ADHD, which is a treat, and many people with ADHD have a memory that keeps resetting. And so instead of being able to recall multiplication tables, they work up all these weird stories in their heads to try to remember. It's exhausting. So you are not alone. So I hope that helps. I hope I answered your story. So now that 40 minutes have elapsed, I'm going to do my best to switch screens. Let's see. Let's go over here. And I'm going to tap button 9. I'm going to take a moment to adjust my legs. Let's practice. Oh, yes. And to answer your question, Dante, one time had the opportunity to address uh, several hundred people, and I was wearing shorts, and that was terrible because they were able to see my kneecaps vibrating up and down. So I assure you, I experienced the full spectrum of physical sensations and human emotions. And I assure you, I know what it's like to feel my voice get stuck in my throat as opposed to my chest or my belly. I know what it's like to flounder, experience word loss, no less paragraph loss. And so I speak from experience saying this stuff works. Well, some people feel that it's disrespectful to dead name others. Some guy tells me his name is Joyce and her name is Joyce. Some guy tells me his name is Dante, and until they tell me otherwise, their name is Dante. It's nice to meet you, Diego. How many languages do you speak? You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.